In today's video, this will be the first in a series of proprietary and orphaned tractor hitches. I'm going to talk about some of the ones that were offered at different points and why they were abandoned. So stick around for episode 1. Today is the IH Farmall Fast Hitch. Farmall Fast Hitch first appeared on the Farmall Super C in 1953. The Fast Hitch was also offered in a 1-point large prong model that was offered on Cubs 100, 130, and 140 tractors. This is a 3-point adapter for a 1-point fast hitch. Now the hitch point on the 1-points were the large prong. IH offered a 3-point hitch adapter pretty early on, and this is not a factory IH adapter. As you can see, this one's not quite the same, and as well as the top link. But IH offered this small prong version pretty early on, and that way the tractors could accept what they called allied attachments. The problem with these is, I'll explain here in a moment, is that you've got a fixed width here. So back then they didn't have a real good ASAE standard for the 3-point hookups. So sometimes you might get something that's a little too long, or the top link might not work quite right. Eventually IH offered their equipment with either a 3-point or a 2-point fast hitch. And you can see this planter right here, this 2-row planter. This was available with the 3-point, and you can see that I've adapted this drawbar right here to fit on that. Otherwise it was too narrow. But a lot of people will put a Tractor Supply drawbar here in the middle and then put a couple bolts in it to keep it from sliding, and then it fits on perfectly. But you could get this with small prongs, large prongs, or the 3-point.
Jump up, and when you come down, pick up your honey and swing her around. Now join hands and circle to the left with the tractor in the lead and the tools in step. Swing along to the engine's roar. See how fast it lets you do more. Halfway around and you turn right back and let the disc brake spin you in your track. You ain't live till you get the feel of the power you command when you're at the wheel. Now promenade home, you fast hitch kids. Let's see you prove you're years ahead. Lift those ledges and roll away. We've got work to do today. Chance to the center. Now back to the bar, just like driving a motor car. See the clearance that's all around, all 4 sides and above the ground. Forward to the center to form your star. Just the right distance, not too far. Hail the chance of the 2-plow class. They can do all that a man could ask. Beat your partner and pass her by. Catch the next one on the sly. Watch those shots go rolling by. Grab your partner and swing from the board. Let's show the work and be a sport. It's the buster, disc and plow, right from the seat, you all know how. Come around and circle to the right, those big tires grip with a non-skid bite. All controls at your beck and call, you're a bigger boss than the king of Gaul. Now promenade home and change your rig, switch your job, get ready to jig. Watch those rings to the tool-shed floor. Keep them back, away from the door. Come to the center. Now back to the door. Let's prove that changing's not a chore. Fast hitch tools will give their all. You don't rob Peter to pay poor Paul. Again to the center. And form your star and circle to your gouge. Not too far. Easy as you go, keep your eye on the roll like you're watching the weeds in an earphone roll. Kill the cow and butcher the calf. Swing your honey with a 1.5. Work.
When it comes to hydraulics, the 656 has everything it takes for modern farming. Powered by a 12-gallon pump, one system provides full-time power for steering and auxiliary valves. A separate system with a 7.5-gallon pump powers the draft control hitch. Wait till you see the hitches that are available. There's the exclusive 2-point fast hitch with the famous IH torsion bar draft control, or the IH 3-point hitch, also with torsion bar draft control, or a standard drawbar if that's all you require. Take your choice.
Because of the way it senses the slightest load change. With no lag, no friction, no delay.
All you do is set the load control and the rest is automatic. It adjusts to the slightest change in terrain, anticipates every little load change so precisely that plowing depth remains uniform. So you're always taking the best possible advantage of every bit of power.
Which does cut costs, doesn't it?
The fast hitch was essentially International Harvester's answer to Henry Ford's and Harry Ferguson's 3-point hitch, which was actually designed by Harry Ferguson in England in 1926, but it really didn't see a lot of use until 1939 with the introduction of the Ford 9N, which was the handshake agreement with Henry Ford, but that's a different video. One of the biggest problems with the 3-point hitch is that you have to kind of wrestle some of the points onto the 3-point to get it hooked up correctly, and if you've got a big heavy attachment, that could be a little difficult. The fast hitch was a late entry and it didn't come out until 1953, as you know, whereas, as I mentioned, the 3-point hitch was offered in 1939, so there's like a 14-year difference. Another factor was that John Deere, trying to find a hitch to use on its tractors in the 1950s, offered to pay International Harvester for the trademark and the rights to use the hitch. Harvester denied it, which probably was a terrible decision looking backward. Harvester offered not only a 2-point to 3-point converter, but they also offered the opposite, which was if you had a 3-point hitch tractor and fast hitch implements, you could still use them. And that hitch today is extremely hard to find. Fast hitch probably started with the Farmall tractors when IH had the hydraulic lift that they had introduced, but the fast hitch really didn't come into the works until after World War II. In 1945, Gordon Hirschman, he was a military designer, and he had worked on hydraulics for ships in World War II, and so he ended up working on the touch control system, and he developed the hitch to compete with the Ferguson system. As you know, the touch control was introduced in 1948, and that was when it became available on the Cub, the Super A, and the C. One of the other problems with the 3-point hitch was that it didn't have draft controls. So let's say you set your plow 6 inches and you were starting to come up out of a little bit of a draw. Well, that plow might sink to 8 inches, and then when you started to come down the other side, it would lift it out, so you might be plowing 4 inches, so it really wasn't efficient. And when you think about it, if you've got, say, a 4-bottom plow or a 3-bottom plow, they're heavy, and you can't nudge that with your foot, or you're trying to muscle that onto the 3-point hitch, whereas you could with a fast hitch. I think some of the problems became more apparent with the fast hitch when they started getting up to like 6 bottoms. I've heard stories about they started to have a little bit of problems with them, but that wasn't super common for the small farmer who mostly only ran a 2 or 3 bottom plow and even a 1 bottom plow.
Now, let's go back to the control lever setup. The first valve is teledepth, used to operate fast hitch. The new teledepth valve with quadrant control keeps implements at the depth selected. Yes, you can return to the same working position without looking, without guesswork. And with exclusive 2-point fast hitch, your back-breaking, tugging, and lifting days are over. The fastest hitching system in the field, it gives you perfect flexibility with your implements as well. Traction control matches traction to the load automatically. The greater the draft load, the more weight transferred.
As the fast hitch was improved, they came out with traction control, and that was a lever you would pull up on the side of the tractor, and that would transfer some of the weight from the implement to the wheels to give you more traction. Unfortunately, when the Ford-Ferguson partnership dissolved in the early 1950s, the patent became available to everyone, and since there had already been so many 3-point hitch attachments produced and it was available for everybody, that soon became the norm, and the fast hitch pretty much disappeared by the late 1950s, although I'm told some of the 2-point fast hitch equipment was still built a little bit longer, but definitely not into the 1970s, although you could still buy a Cub or a 140 throughout the 1970s with the fast hitch option. So the 1-point fast hitch was still available, as were the attachments. And one of the problems people had was, let's say you had a Super C plow, but you had a Farmall 300. They had these little spacers that you could put underneath, and a lot of people tack welded those spacers to the points, so you could take the small prong and put it in a large prong tractor, but the reverse could not be done, obviously. The dealer obviously wanted to keep you buying the same products from the same manufacturer, so if you bought a red tractor with a fast hitch, you were pretty much forced to always buy IH implements. You couldn't go buy John Deere implements or Ford implements unless you had that special adapter, which wasn't so popular, so most people didn't even realize it was out there. hope you enjoyed the video, and please stay tuned for the next video where I'm going to introduce the Alice Chalmers snap coupler hitch.